Hello, I am Lauren, and I want to talk about graphic arts. This is actually a continuation of a project that I already started. I looked at a few different ways to try to recreate this image here into a high resolution vector. I ended up going with this trace method, and this short video is just gonna break down how I approach tracing this particular image, but this method could be applied to other images, obviously. It doesn't have to be illustration style. You could do this with a photograph as well. So I I don't even remember when I did this. It was earlier in the week, and this is always fun for me to try to remember what I was thinking when I was doing stuff, and also just about every time I watch a recording of graphic arts work that I've done, I see stuff that I missed while I was working. That's probably the most fun part. Uh, it just it's just helpful to catch yourself catch yourself slipping, and then um, remember that next time, like, hey, want to maybe take a different approach on this, because this picture this video, it's like 9 minutes long. In 9 minutes, yeah, it's sped up, I think maybe 4 times, so that's like 40 minutes of it's 40 minutes of tracing, and the video starts here. And what I've done is just outlined this basic shape and put down like something to work on. And this is a pretty good example of me catching myself slipping. And that's debatable, but you could totally wait to do this big green blob shape last and then start with all the tiny little details. But let's watch me do it backwards. And the way that I do it backwards is by using the opacity so that I can still see underneath this layer the eyes and the little nostril pieces and other details that are underneath the green blob. Alright, I'm kind of nervous about this one. It might go a little faster than I'm able to explain what I'm thinking or trying to do in the video. Alright, here we go. This part's pretty easy because I already said, yeah, I'm going to bring that down. Now, I don't want to pause this and give little hints, but so I'll try to throw them in there. That is the pen tool. And when you switch from a pen tool to a pointer tool, there are keyboard shortcuts for that. I don't remember the one for the pen tool, but to quickly switch over to the pointer tool, I can just use the S on the keyboard with Inkscape. That's a really great feature. So with the pen tool, as we trace out little tiny shapes, once we set the color for the fill on that, once we match the color, every shape that we draw after that is going to pop up in the same color. So knowing that, I like to trace all of the things that are the same color around the same time. So this is like a highlighted brown, so I was trying to trace all the highlighted outline, whatever, brown-ish colored pieces. Here's where I stopped to mess with the nodes on the eyepiece. I didn't stop for every shape that I created through this to adjust nodes on it. I only did it on a couple of things. Adjusting nodes and adjusting colors or the opacity of a color in a shape, that can all be done once you got all your paths already traced. So I try not to get too much into the weeds perfecting things, because once you take the background image away from what you're tracing, what you have is a brand new image, because you're not, I mean, you could try to do it exactly. I'm not. I'm trying to get like the essence of the image here. So still doing these brown tracing pieces, just adding a few details to make it look a little more, you know, detailed. There are some details that I'm not gonna worry about right now. So you can see that little newsprint shading in the back on a few pieces of the design. I know there's a method to get that done. I've already imagined how I might do it, but I'm not going to worry about it until I have the whole entire trace done. Here's where I stop to think like, whoa, okay, well, what do I really want with this? Well, we've got the hair kind of going around the snake, so I was kind of confused, like where should I put the detail or the highlight? So I know that I want to put the hair on a completely different layer, and that's going to be kind of tricky. Well, the hair is probably going to have to be done in a couple of different paths to get any kind of overlapping. But for now, we're just looking at the snakes in the design and trying to get some basic snakes out of that. Drag that way too much. I try to just drag the image off the canvas with one motion one time and then just use Control Z to put it back. That way I can just kind of take a look at what's going on with what I've created so far. Is it nonsense? So we moved on to the teeth. Now we're going to use the dropper tool, switch the color, and since we know every shape that we make after that's going to be the same color, might as well go ahead and do all those little teeth pieces. And depending on who you are, or even if you want to adopt this method, you could do all the teeth on the whole entire design. I just wanted to do one snake at a time. Just one. It had been a couple of weeks since I had even tried to do any kind of graphic arts with any real detail, so I felt no rush to try to figure out, well, what's the most efficient way to approach this. In other situations, you might want to do that. You might want to be pressed for time. This is more of a like a relaxation tool for me than anything else. I actually tried to start doing this portion of the trace with a pen, like a tablet with a pen instead of a mouse, and I've just gotten so used to using the mouse that I switched back to the mouse. The pen does come in handy when you're trying to trace larger pieces where the path is really big and there's a lot of little jagged pieces or whatever, which, you know, ideally you kind of want to avoid anyway. Just break things down into smaller paths and then adjust as needed. Um, yeah, where the layer sits. So some of these things I'm drawing on top of each other when really it needs to be underneath another thing like that. So all of this is being done on layer 1, but even inside layer 1 I mean, I don't know what else to describe it as other than layers. Like, you have pieces of a path that sit on top and other pieces that sit on the bottom. It's probably one of the few first things you need to learn about putting designs together in Inkscape, whether you're tracing something or just making something off the top of your head. If there's any kind of overlapping, you know, one shape is going to overlap another. It's going to be on top. So you can decide, well, do I want this path to be on top of the other one, or do I want it to be on the bottom? So that's what's happening here with the insides of the mouth and the teeth. So it might look kind of inside out or not upside down, but kind of weird. But on this snake piece, I didn't do the green part first. I decided to start on the inside and work my way out. I feel like this is turning into more of a philosophy discussion than a talk about graphics, but I'm down with that. It's a pretty short video. If you made it this far, then you deserve whatever philosophical glitter I can sprinkle onto this for you. So yeah, now we're just gonna duplicate everything we did with the first snake, same technique more or less, just tiny little shapes. Use the eyedropper tool to match the color. It's a very repetitive process. You draw out the shape, make the outline, click, click, click with your little pen. You could go back and smooth out all the nodes and make them perfect depending on what your mental situation is at that point in time. If you're just doing this to get it done and get it away from you, then don't go back. Don't go back and don't worry about the nodes. Don't make it perfect. But if this is like a passion project, take your time. Make it nice. Uh, Really, I don't know what my problem is with wanting to do that green shape without doing all of those little detail pieces first. Like, why not do those first and then do the green shape? I just like this challenge of trying to work through a layer. It's like looking through a door or like trying to guess what's on the other side. Well, let me make the door a little more transparent. That might help. There is one thing that I do like about it, and that's that it almost puts a screen over the detail. So only the strongest details will shine through. So it gives you a new perspective on the design that you're trying to copy or, imitate. Yeah, that looks kind of crazy, the coloring, but really something I prefer to perfect and adjust at the end. Unless I'm really trying to sell myself on the effort. Like, yeah, this is worth continuing. It looks fine. Yeah, there we go. All done. Pretty quick and painless. And I didn't really make it through too much. I got down to this guy and well, I didn't even get this guy, right? This might be the most boring video I've made so far. Yeah, I didn't do that guy back there. We just got two snake dudes. I like it though. I'm not really counting these guys. Like, they're okay, I guess. Yeah, I could keep them. That'll work. Alright, thanks for watching this very quick... Hold on, I want to Control Z, because I don't want you thinking that I'm just going to leave it sloppy like that. Okay. Let me Control Save. Control S that too while we're at it. Oh yeah, and the philosophical glitter. So when in doubt, freak them out. This is pretty good rule of thumb for life. Like if someone's messing with you, or if you think they're trying to like mess with your head a little bit, just be scary. Just scare them. You be the crazy one. Just don't do anything illegal. You'll be fine. All right. Take care.